So give yourselves a woo. Woo! Oh, y'all are good. But you gotta get the hands going too. So, okay, will you do it again? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Woo!
All righty, good morning and woo to everybody. Woo! Oh gosh. So all of you watching in, give your own self like a woo, because you're up and you're here and you decided to join us this morning, and we're excited that you made that choice. Good morning, Lisa. Good morning, Cathy.
Hello, ladies. Happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
And I thought so when we were looking at the theme for the show today, and I thought, it's actually pretty appropriate. First, I thought, well, what's that really got to do with Valentine's? Except Valentine's is like the heart month, the love month, right? And so when we look at that, what are the things that we love? And there's all different kinds of love. There's the love that we have for God and the love that we have, for each other. And really, that's where friendships and all come into play, because our friends just enrich our lives so much. Wouldn't you agree?
Of course.
Looking at this screen, I have to say yes.
You bet. You bet. So if you're out there this morning and you want to say a quick hello to us, or actually it doesn't have to be quick, you can say a long hello.
Hello.
We would love that. That would be great. So hello to you, and check in as to where you are located. We always like to see like how far of a reach do we have? One of these days it'd be fun to get one of our Australian gals to say hi. That would be our farthest reach that we would have had. So, and
just to let you know,
huh?
Right this second, I keep a world clock on my phone now, just because so many of my friends are not local to the USA even. And right now in Australia, it's 2:30 in the morning in one of my cities and 1:30 in the morning in the other. So,
oh gosh.
Yeah.
Lord, Christine, good morning. How nice to see you.
Oh, Doc is in the house. There we go.
Yes, she is. That is awesome. How is the gardening going? I mean, are y'all still just so tundra that you're not doing anything? Of course, you've got your greenhouse. Is it coming along well?
The other thing in Kansas City, rain today. Actually rainy and thunderstorms this afternoon with possible tornadoes. So there's all kinds of things happening. Yeah.
Please, Lord, no tornadoes, no big winds. We don't want anything to happen to the beautiful greenhouse that she's gotten built. She's spent so much time on. And it looks so cool. Yeah. We're getting there. So, well, somebody just said tornadoes. Oh, no. So y'all can see at the bottom of the screen, it's giving that how you go to give permission. So you just go to StreamYard. I'm going to look at it. StreamYard.com/Facebook. And then it'll show you your name, because we have two. It might be the same person, or you can just tell us who you are that just gave us a heart so that we know who we're talking to. We'd love to have that. So this morning, as we come together, again, it's Valentine's Day, so happy Valentine's Day. And Bill has gotten so good at cooking that we decided, why go out? We could go out and spend $100 without even blinking, right? But it's like there's really nothing we want to go out to eat that's better than what we have here at home. So we're just looking at what are we going to have tonight. So what are some of you going to do if you're going out for dinner tonight? Whether it's with a friend or your spouse or whatever, if you're going out to dinner tonight, put a 1 in the chat box. And if you're cooking something at home, put a 2 in there. We'll kind of see how many people are going out. Oh, I am Alicia. Is one of them.
I think you know her, right, Delinda?
I think so. And hello from, is it Raquel?
Yeah, Raquel's fabulous. She's one of our Kansas City superstars.
Oh, yay. Well, hi there. Nice to meet you. So just quickly before we get into our subject, what are y'all doing today? So Lisa, I know you're traveling. Is that mainly what you're doing? Are you going to have a nice little dinner with your hubby when you get home?
Probably. We'll make it something special, but probably the special will be more on the weekend, just
Yeah.
because I'm traveling today.
Excellent. What about you, Kath?
I got to celebrate Valentine's Day a couple weeks ago with one of my kids' families, and last weekend with another kid's family. So that's always fun. Actually, tonight, in super duper normal Cathy Weaver style, I have a board meeting. So that's exactly where I will be, is in a board meeting. And I love this group, as a matter of fact. So it's not a challenge or a burden, but I am super excited because we've got so many cool things happening, and to be on the board is such an honor. So I actually don't mind that. Plus, the other thing is, everyone in the world goes out on Valentine's Day. So even if I was planning on going out, I would have picked another night, because Kansas City is already on fire. I don't know if you guys are aware, but there was a little teensy football game over the weekend, and we actually became world champions again, second time in
No,
4
it's like
years.
whoop, 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 whoop. It was,
Yeah. So I do have a bit of a problem. I
yeah.
have a Super Bowl ring from 2019, and I was super excited about that. And so I got this ring because I thought, oh my gosh, it was 50 years since the last time. And so I thought I better get all the stuff, because I want to be able to keep it for the next 50. And so now it's twice in 4 years. So I get to go get another Super Bowl ring, and not only a Super Bowl 54 fabulous, amazing t-shirt with a great big ring on the front of it. It's so gorgeous. So now I need to get a 57. So thank you, Patrick Mahomes, for increasing my wardrobe, and certainly my jewelry.
Exactly,
That's fun.
exactly. Well, and it was such a great game. I mean, now the
Yeah.
first half wasn't that exciting, but you know, there's a lot of lessons. I mean, in sports there are so many lessons. I know that's not our topic for the day. Could have been, but the fact that you know they don't give up. They go in there and you're thinking, okay, guys, wake up. What's going on with you? And then they come out like, wah! You know. So it's like never give up. You know, don't feed into what that is. And all of the, I really appreciated Travis at the end, Kelsey saying, you know, we got no respect. You didn't think we were going to do it. So it's like, blah, in your face. Oh gosh. So
He's famous for that.
yeah, it's exciting, and just, you know, so happy for you, for Kansas City. I still consider myself Kansas City. I'm both. I've tried both states. So
You have lots of options.
I love that. Well, we are going to talk about networking, and really, so Kathy, what being the expert. So let me, I know that all of y'all know Kathy, but for those who might watch this, Kathy is an expert in so many fields, and she has such a heart for everyone. She loves to train. She loves to, she's a lifetime learner. She and Lisa both are lifetime learners. I mean, learnaholics, both of them are. And then they're both so open to sharing it. I mean, I can't even list the amount of blessings and things that I've learned from both of these ladies. But in the area of networking, Kathy really shines, and she shares her information so well. So I'm going to let her talk a little bit. And Kathy, if you'd like to tell us a little bit about you, I mean, we know you're from Kansas City, but for those who don't know you, who might be listening later, what would you like them to know about you?
Networking for me is an ongoing process, and I mean that with all my heart. And so thank you again, Delinda, for having me on your show. I love being part of Fun, Fearless Female global community of Christian women, and the Words of Wisdom Wednesday, and all the different things I get to do with your team. And I think that is part of the networking experience. And one of the things that I love so much, and I was actually taking notes from a standpoint of, did you know that next month, March, will be the third year that we have been talking about post-quarantine and pandemic things. Now, how did these 3 years go so fast? For me, they have flown. Yeah, seriously, for me, they have flown because I have had networking opportunities intensified. And that has been a blessing times a million. And I love when people say, honey, you know, all that networking stuff that you talk about all the time, you really can't build relationships online. And so I always say, oh my gosh, tell me about that. And so, of course, they walk themselves into a bit of a trap, if you will, because just like when I was checking the world clock, I would never have had friends, and I'm talking actual friends from India. I will be there tomorrow at 8:30 in the morning. I have friends in the Netherlands now. I have friends in the UK, like intensity friends. I have friends in Germany. I mean, it's incredible. And now I get to see, and this is for real, I literally am able to show my fabulous globe that I keep near me, because as soon as somebody says, I always say, where's home base for you? And when they tell me, I can not only pinpoint it, but that makes them feel, I think, a little bit more connected. So then, of course, I go back to, here's the USA and here's you, and we're really not that far apart. Isn't that cool? So people are able to actually bridge the gap, if you will, with networking. And I would not have had that opportunity if we were still networking in person, because I was doing the math on the miles that I was putting on my car. And I literally, because I have about 100-mile radius, nothing stopped me from networking, like, ever. And all of a sudden they'd say, well, we're a little bit far from you. And I'm like, I don't care. That's not even a factor. Where is it? Let's go. I've got a GPS. Let's rock it. And so anywhere from Parkville to St. Charles, Missouri, to actually Madison, Wisconsin, to Dallas, Texas, I literally was going anywhere to network because I love meeting new people. And so the pandemic saved gas mileage, is the cool thing.
Yeah, I'd say that's a definite for sure.
Yeah, for that is. But I really do love networking. The books I've written have been icing on the cake, if you will, as far as opening the door to get me into different groups and things like that. And I keep charts with me all the time, the ABCs of networking. I have business ABCs of networking. Doc actually helped me with a swoopers ABC of networking, as far as different challenges, what not to say, and things like that. The other piece is I also did the ABCs of networking post-quarantine. So anytime I'm in a room and things are, shall we say, a little bit lagged or slowed down a little bit, I always say, pick a letter. And they're like, what? And I always say, pick a letter. And so they go, okay. And most of them do something like Q, just to test me, or Z, just to see if I'm on my toes, or even X. But as soon as we go through that, it just gives an opportunity for chatting about different networking pieces, because sometimes people are afraid to stretch, I guess you would say. But I really do. These signs are not accidental. I really do love networking.
Mm-hmm. And it's so, just the way it brings people together. I mean, as you just said, I would never have met you, Cathy, or Lisa if it weren't for networking. And my life would be just so void without that.
Yes.
And those that I can see the names on here, Doc, Laura Christine, like, come on, girl, walked into I think you invited her, right, Cathy?
Yes.
Walked in with you to a fun, fearless luncheon in Kansas City. It's like, whoa, who knew? That we would be great friends and all of that. So, and Mary Helen the same way. So it is just a great way. So Lisa, how do you look at networking? What would you like to say?
I used to look at networking as just a way that I was going to go push my sales on the people. And it wasn't like I wanted to push sales on the people. I'm definitely that opposite of that person. But that's what I thought you were supposed to do. I thought this was the opportunity to hand out your business card and do that kind of stuff. And I'm so glad it's not, because I wouldn't be here. And I started going to a small networking group, and that was what it was. It was definitely set up for everybody to bring in those leads and give leads to people that I didn't even know, and all that kind of stuff. And then I started going to some other groups who their focus was more on relationships, and yours being one of them. In fact, this is, I'm not like Cathy. I don't network all over the place, but I enjoy the quality of the network. And so once you start making those relationships, now it becomes kind of an addictive action because it brings in business. It's not that it just is, it's more about the relationship and the fun of having friends and the like-mindedness. I mean, I have to admit, this is where networking for me resonates, is in like-mindedness.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And when we can, when we really look at it, that we are building relationship, it takes that pressure off that you're supposed to, that, I don't know, you're supposed to have some big sale every time you go someplace. Well, when you realize that isn't it at all, then it takes that total pressure off and you can just relax and be yourself and make more friends. Right, Kath?
Yeah. Absolutely. I love the relationship piece, just like Lisa was mentioning. And look at this screen right now. Our friends that have popped on. Sandy Archer was in Kansas City like forever, and now she's in Virginia Beach. And she shows us beach pictures all the time. And of course, it's just, it's so beautiful. And so I would not have known Sandy if it wasn't for networking. I wouldn't have known Raquel if it wasn't for networking. Karen Higgins is a big superstar. I wouldn't have known her if it wasn't for networking. We've known each other probably since 2009, I think. And I look at all these screens. I wouldn't have known Doc if it wasn't for networking. And it's just phenomenal to me. The relationship piece is so huge. And just like you were talking, Lisa, some of the networking groups are what I call hardcore. And even though I have attended, like I usually go as guest or someone wants me to fill in or whatever that looks like, I'm happy to do that, of course. But I many times sit back and just kind of watch the structure and the interaction. And I appreciate the structure piece. And obviously it's successful or it wouldn't have been around for so long. But I think in terms of there's nothing more valuable to me career-wise than a friend sending a person to me as a referral. They didn't have to. They weren't forced. They don't necessarily get points or dollars or whatever that looks like. I have a friend who needs your help. Here you go. And I take it from there. That means more to me than just anything in the career world for me. And I don't need to do it. I don't get points for doing it. I don't get to stand up in front of the room with all my tickets to say, look what happened. I love the I guess you would call it opportunity that networking has given me to meet so many people. And I can't stress enough how much some people are afraid of it, I guess you would say. And I always say networking means talking. And they go, what? And I say, yeah, they want this big, long description. And I say, networking just means talking. That's it. And you're at a cocktail party, you're at a Chamber of Commerce meeting, you're at a luncheon with your friends. It just means talking. And as soon as people realize that's all it is, then they go, well, I can do that. I said, yeah, you can do that. And it changes the tone, I think.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love that. Go ahead, Lisa.
For some of us who are introverts like me, I'm that wallflower. It took a little bit of my own mental coaxing to get myself out. And so, what do you suggest, Kathy, for people who are wallflowers? Because my Velcro is pretty thick.
Yeah. And I definitely appreciate that because actually with my DISC teaching, I have learned I am a CSID in the DISC system. And the reason for that is my comfort zone, if you will. But I found early on in my career of networking, I started full-time in 2007-08, right around that period. I realized pretty quickly that probably people were not going to knock on my door and ask to buy a water machine. So I better figure out how to do this networking thing or my business is going to last about 7 seconds. No, seriously. And so that's when I thought, well, maybe that's not a good fit. One of my favorite stories for introverts actually is I was very involved in one of our local chambers of commerce here in Kansas City for probably 5, 6, 7, 8 years. And I loved that chamber. It was the largest in Johnson County and certainly the largest weekly event in the Kansas City metro area. And as soon as I went to that, I, of course, was deer in the headlights. I can't possibly do this. Next thing you know, I'm getting membership achievement awards, blah, blah, blah. And the reason for that is I always hit the wall. And when I said that, people would go, what? I said, I always hit the wall. And of course, they go, all right, tell me about that. People who are introverts Velcro themselves, as Lisa mentioned, to the wall or don't go at all. But as soon as they walk in, they don't want to be there anyway. Their boss sent them, or they realize that they have to go for some reason, company-wise or whatever that looks, they're going. And they walk in and go, oh my gosh, I've got to get out of here. And they hug the wall or stand by the coffee bar and act like they're sipping constantly. You can't drink that much coffee in an hour, I'm here to tell you. But that's their comfort zone. So I would always hit the wall and say, oh my gosh, I've never seen you before. It's so nice to have you. Tell me about you. And they would go, what? And all the little cliques, of course, that's what chambers of commerce sometimes are notorious for. Our chamber didn't do that because that's what we were encouraged to do, is find other people. But it was back to that same drill. I hit the wall. Everybody that was hugging the wall, I said, who did you come here to meet? I came because my boss told me I had to. I appreciate that. Have you been to networking events before? Yes, and I hate them. And I said, well, networking is kind of my DNA. Why don't we walk around together? What do you think? And most of them would say, yeah. Or I would introduce them in front of the room. They don't have to speak. I usually had the microphone, MC, that kind of stuff. And so I would always say, ladies and gentlemen, I'd love for you to meet my incredible friend, Lisa. She's all the way from Las Vegas. You've got to meet her. She's phenomenal. Oh my gosh. Well, usually she was then pounded upon. Oh my gosh, give me your card. Let's connect. And the next thing you know, she came back. And it really did turn out to be fantastic relationship building. But I always say, hit the wall, because that's where people are uncomfortable and you have an opportunity to make them feel so much better. And that was my thing. I loved it. And the second thing I always did in groups was I was an exit greeter. And people go, a what? And I said, I was always the exit greeter. And they were like, what is an exit greeter? Everybody's at the reception desk. They're so glad that you're here. Put your business card in the basket. Let's have a door prize. That whole drill, check your name off a thing. Who invited you? We're so glad she's right over there. That kind of thing. Please get coffee. Help yourself to a donut. That's the deal. But as nobody ever did exit greeting. And so I instantly was like, that's me. And so I always would be at the door. Are you leaving? No, I'm just going to go exit greet. And they were like, and so they started watching that. And I loved it because I was able to say, oh my gosh, it's so great to see you. I hope you'll be back next week. Next week, we're going to be because we change locations every time. And I loved being able to do that because then they would kind of go, because most of the time when people walk out of an event, they just walk out kind of like, well, that wasn't my thing. And so they didn't meet anybody. Nobody talked to them. They didn't even use their vocal cords because there was no interaction. And so at least when they're leaving, if I didn't get to meet them while we were inside, I was able to say, I hope you made some great connections today. I look forward to seeing you again. This is one of my favorite groups ever, and I hope you'll give it another chance. And so they were kind of like, then of course I would be the greeter next week and then the exit greeter again. And I just really do love networking.
And you are just so good at it. I mean, you gave such great tips already. So let me ask you both. I mean, we think of networking always or most of the time from the standpoint of business, like you were just talking about. But what are other ways? I mean, I think we network really in many areas of our life. What do you, how do you see that? Do you think we can network? Is that what we do? Maybe in our churches or in other things that we do that have nothing to do with business?
Go ahead, Lisa. I'm sure you've got quite a list.
Well, I would say that, I guess this goes back to my own spiritual philosophy that everybody's my brother and sister. So I just want to get to know everybody. I was really good at that part of networking before. It's just I didn't like the business networking because I didn't like the salesy part. So yeah, it merges into everything that we do. And so I'll talk to somebody at an airport, and mainly my biggest thing there in that we leave that person happier or better than I found them.
Wow, that's a beautiful way to think about it. I love that.
And what about you, Kath? What do you think about that? Can we network in other places besides business?
A perfect example of that, Phyllis Arnstein just popped on this call.
Yes, and hi, Phyllis.
Phyllis is from Florida. Now, I love Florida, and I have gone on girls' trips there with my yayas, as we call ourselves. Oh, don't get me started. And so I would never have met Phyllis because we go to Daytona Beach as a rule, and Phyllis lives in Spring Hill. So she's literally over on the Gulf side. I would probably not have run into Phyllis if it had not been for networking. So virtual networking is a big deal. Many times, and Delinda, you were one of our guests when we had a group called Women in Networking Connecting for Christ. And that group, we did meet in church. So I got to network with the pastor. I got to network with the AV gentleman who was spectacular. I know that he set the stage up for you many times when you sang at some of our events. And I feel that networking is a huge part. Plus, when you're at your church, again, I was always the greeter at church. Go figure. And the reason that I did that, once again, are you new here and you're trying to see if this church is a good fit, whether it's your spiritual journey or just seeing if the chemistry in the room feels okay before you decide if you're actually going to go join that particular church. Well, I feel it's kind of like when people are invited to your home. If you don't put out the welcome mat, literally and figuratively, then they're going to go, this was awful. And so you're not going to get them back, no matter what the topic was. A party for this, a launch for that, a birthday party for somebody, a baby shower for this. They're not coming back. And if it was a miserable experience, what's the reason for that? Now, sometimes it's on them. I get that. But if we are thinking in terms, just like Lisa mentioned, we're all brothers and sisters. And of course, Jesus never knew a stranger. And so I'm instantly thinking, I do that WWJD thing. What would Jesus do? I don't think he would let someone walk past and go, oh, I don't want to talk to her. Nope. It's not a good fit for me. And so introvert times a million. I have always said my comfort zone is in my closet by myself, sun shining in. It's a gorgeous closet. I love my window. And I really do, except today it's raining, so I'll be in my office. But it's back to that same drill. That's my thing. I want to be in my closet by myself, working with my computer, but that's not going to expand my network. So I guess, Delinda, the answer to your question is expectation. Mm-hmm. What is the expectation when you go to a networking event? Do you want to sell 9 million of your somethings? Or do you want to get amazing connections? Just like with Delinda, when you started joining us at the Happy Neighborhood Project, look what happened to Fun Fearless Female. As far as your numbers, you exploded the 1,000 mark, my friend.
Yes, it was awesome.
Same thing for me. When I started with Happy Neighborhood Project, I think I had 50, 60, 70 subscribers on my YouTube channel. I'm on my way to 600, my friends. But it's because of HNP and then the friends that I have met, because one friend says, oh, you need to connect with her and you need to go to here and you need to do something. One thing I'd like to share that I don't want anyone to put limits on yourself. Don't make a ceiling for you. I got to do a posting party. Now, I love those. I didn't know what they were a couple of years ago, and they're all over my YouTube channel if you don't know what one is either. I got to do a posting party for the Public Speakers Association of India. What are the chances? Seriously. And then soon after that, because of that experience, one of the alumni associations for one of the India universities asked me to do a posting party. I'm just telling you, you never know what the expectation will be. Was that my expectation to do a posting party in India? No. I'm attending an event to share my Kangen water business, certainly invite people to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and now it's global. And I would never have known that if it wasn't for networking. So yes, you can network at church. I even network at the grocery store. I know. It's kind of that 3-foot rule. You get that close to me, we're going to chat. And it's back to that same drill. How's your day going? Where do you go for networking? Tell me about your company. How long have you worked here? It just doesn't matter. People love to talk about themselves. And if you ask a few key questions, you can get them talking forever.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think that really is, it's that looking for good. It's trying to be, share a little sunshine, share a little love or hope or respect with other people. And that's really what we're doing when we're networking. So if you're at the grocery store and you can smile at the cashier and say, a few nice words like, oh, you got a great smile or whatever it might be, that is making a difference in people's life. And that is networking. I love it, Cathy, when you said networking means talking, so it's not like when we take that stigma out of it, that networking is all about go out and try to sell stuff. No. It's talking and it's sharing information and getting to know people. And I think, in some sort, I've been shocked, really. You're probably not, Cathy, but in HNP, I've had so many one-on-ones that we get in the middle of talking about, our spiritual journeys. We find a sister in Christ is like, oh my gosh. And then we get to really get in, because once we know that we're believers and you get to talk and you find out about their lives and sometimes I met this just beautiful young mother last week, and I won't share names because I don't know how she'd feel about that. But she is a new business owner, an entrepreneur, and she has a 1-year-old baby, and she has such a heart for the Lord. And just who would think I would met this beautiful, sweet soul? I would never have met her if it hadn't been for networking for H&P, because that's where I'm meeting most everybody now. So those of you who are out there who wonder what H&P is, talk to Cathy, talk to me, send us a message. We'd be happy to share. It's free. Okay, like it is free. So if you need to expand your network, like why wouldn't you join? So that, and you're right, Cathy. I mean, that is how we hit our 1,000 mark in Fun Fearless. And it's, you think it's going to be one thing. It's what you said, Cathy, about the expectation. So I actually try to not put any expectations on it all, other than good ones like, okay, Lord, surprise me, whatever, whoever you want to bring into my path. But to me, it's just really wonderful, wonderful people.
I think honestly, and I even think in terms of, just like you would say, where do you go for networking? Tonight you mentioned people are going to go out to dinner. Now, just because of how crowded everything will be, it's Valentine's Day. People love to celebrate with the people that they love. Many times for me, whether I'm on a business dinner luncheon thing or actually personal, I get to know the server. Tell me about you. I see your name is. And so they chat. How long have you been doing this? Oh my gosh, I'm a veteran. I've been here 8 years. You must really love it. And I bet you've seen a lot of changes over the years. Absolutely. So we're having this fabulous rapport. Needless to say, your glass is never empty when you've got that type of relationship with the server, and everything is going fantastic. Toward the end of the meal, I say, by the way, is your manager available? I'd love to talk to that person. And they look and they go, I thought everything was going great. And now you want to see the manager. Are you kidding me? But they do their job and they go find the manager. And of course, the manager's coming over very sheepish, like, OMG, what just happened?
Right.
And I said, I understand you're the manager here. Yes, ma'am. Well, ma'am ain't a good sign, but yeah. And I said, I just wanted to shake the hand of the person who's responsible for retaining someone as awesome as Susie Cusey. And they go, what? And I said, oh my gosh, she's amazing. My cup never was empty. My this was perfect. My something was awesome. Attention to detail. She's been around forever, and I can definitely see why. And I just wanted to shake the hand of the person that has retained Susie for 8 years in this incredible establishment. By the way, I do Yelp a lot, which is a review platform. I do Yelp a lot, and I'm happy to do that. Plus, I just checked in on Facebook so that all of my friends see the beautiful presentation of the meal that was served to me. And I tagged Susie in it also. I just wanted to thank you. This was a beautiful experience, and you bet I will be back. What? And they're looking at me like, okay. And then of course the manager's giving her the, oh yeah, kind of look. But it's back to that same thing. If we can make one person feel, just like Lisa said, God, I have a great feeling for you. It edifies the heck out of them. And all of a sudden their shoulders are back and they just feel a little better about life. And they have you to thank for it. But of course, it's not us, it's him.
Yeah.
Totally.
Absolutely.
Him.
And it had nothing to do with you trying to sell her a water machine. And I think that's where people get caught up into that. They get caught up. It really is about just how we treat others. And as believers, as Christians, that's what we're all about. Just sharing that. And somewhere along the line, somebody's going to say, so how do you go through life this way? What makes you happy? What gives you such joy? And that's when that door opens and we can explain that, because if we're just sharing the love and we're sharing how Jesus loved people, that's what we're about. That's our networking field, is the world out there, right?
Absolutely.
And Valentine's Day is a great day to be sharing the love and talking about that.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Oh gosh. Well, we are at the top of the hour. So let me see here. So Rachel, hey there, cousin. Nice to see you here. And amen to Cathy. You can see that, Kath. And love that y'all made your comments out here, Mary Helen. Yep, loved Win. That was a great time. And sometimes, and I know y'all must feel this way sometimes, you have something that's just going that you love and you just know is ordained by God. I mean, there's just certain things you know you're doing, and that was the beautiful thing. And then you look back later, it's like, "Ah, what happened to that?" Sometimes the Lord just puts us in these places for a season. That at that moment in time was what the people who were coming was all about, the people. So those of us, I went when I was in town and had that opportunity. I was in on the second week, and every so often, the second week and the third week would collide together, and it was wonderful. So I got to go. Um, and so when you think of things, and for a long time, I don't know why this is just coming that I need to share this. Um, for a long time, and that's how God's always used me, is bringing me into places, and but then I would be gone. You know, it's like He would move me to something else, and it's like, okay, Lord, so how come I don't ever get to stay for the long term? How come I want to see what happens to all these people and the sharing we've done, and it's just His message back to me was that I was there to be the catalyst. I mean, I was there to stir it up, bring new ideas in, whatever, but be the catalyst so then He could continue His work through someone else. So sometimes when you're feeling like, oh man, I wish this thing was still going. And When's one of those. I've heard people say, man, I really miss When. It was just such a great time. And it really was, Cathy. You and Anita just did such a wonderful thing, a blessing. And I know it was totally God working through you, but how you touched people's, and that was a networking. That's what we're talking about. I mean, all of this comes together, made a difference. And now all those ladies are out able to make a better difference and shine in the world because of what When was to them at that point. So never, God always has a plan, even like, okay, so Lord, how come we're not doing that anymore? Well, just that was for a season. Sometimes it's forever. Sometimes it's for a season. So anyway, well, thank you. And thank you all for being here. We know that you have lots of choices and you could be anywhere today. And so we appreciate that you're here. Any last comment, Lisa, that you'd like to share?
Well, I just like Cathy's advice. So save a wallflower, hit the wall.
I love that. I love that. And Cathy, what last comment would you like for everybody?
I feel 1,000,000% that every single relationship that pops into your life is for a reason. Either they're in your life for a reason or you're in their life for a reason. So please, I encourage each and every one of us to make the best of everyone who pops in.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. So as we leave this morning, I'm going to just leave you with my familiar words that life is not a matter of chance. It's a matter of choice. So choose to go out and make a difference. Choose to go out and network, build those relationships, and just see who God brings in your path. You might have some great surprises ahead. All right, everybody. Thanks for being here. Love you. Happy Valentine's Day. We'll see you next time. Bye.